Alright guys, thanks for hopping on. Let's stop the music. Let's go. So basically we had a lot of things going on today. We're gonna talk about US CPI, of course, the big event of the day. We're also gonna talk about the Bank of Canada. We're gonna talk about the RBNZ. But first of all, a little disclaimer, right? Forex is not for everybody. It's a bit of a dangerous business if you're not knowing why or what you're doing. So that's why I am doing these educational live streams, so you just know how to approach the market, you know how to apply correct risk management. So first of all, this is not financial advice. This is for your education purpose only, so you can build a framework around your trading. Be small, be humble, focus on the long term, and do not risk money you cannot afford to lose, right? So that's the important one. Now that is out of the way, we can start sharing our screen. And let's see, yeah, there we are. Okay, so first of all, we can see Wednesday, July 13th. It's not showing everything, so let me go to today, then it should show everything. Yeah, so we opened basically the day with the RBNZ interest rate decision. So what is an interest rate decision? It's basically the central bank of that country, in this case New Zealand, and they are deciding to hike or to cut interest rates, right? If they hike interest rates, basically that is tightening financial conditions, and it makes borrowing more expensive, but at the same time it makes saving your money at the bank more rewarding, right? So it goes both ways. And basically the end goal, or the goal of hiking interest rates, raising interest rates in other words, is basically to cut spending, right? If borrowing gets more expensive and keeping your money in the bank is a better option, then people will stop spending. And when you stop spending, inflation goes down, okay? And if we take a look at US CPI numbers, we can see that inflation, not only in the US, where is it? Here it is. Let's see, US CPI. Where's that 9%? Here it is, right? US CPI year over year, 9%. So that's crazy, guys. So we can see that inflation is still a big problem nowadays, right? Not only in the US, but everywhere in the world, inflation is super high. So basically all central banks are tightening their financial conditions. They are hiking interest rates to cut spending and to bring down inflation. So that's what's going on in the world. The higher the interest rate goes, usually the currency, in this case the New Zealand dollar, would follow to the upside, right? We also have the Canadian dollar. I don't know if it's already done. Yeah, it's already done like an hour ago. Yeah, an hour ago. They raised from 1.5 to 2.5. So without even looking at the charts, I know the Bank of Canada, or at least the Canadian dollar, just got way stronger. It's cracking a bit. Yeah, that's why it's because my window is open. Just let me close it. That's probably gonna be better. Let me know if it isn't or if it is. So continuing about this, the Bank of Canada, wow, they jumped basically 100 basis points equals 1%. That's a big jump. In compared to the NZD, they only, right, it's still a lot, but they only jumped or hiked 50 basis points, 0.5%. Now, that was already expected, that was already in the price, so that didn't push the New Zealand dollar higher. But I can expect, without even looking at the chart, that the Canadian dollar just got a lot stronger, okay? So we're gonna take a look at that NZD CAD trade, that sell trade that we were in, because I'm pretty sure now NZD CAD is going to the downside as expected. Then we're gonna talk about CPI here. So again, guys, CPI at 9.1. It was at 8.6. They were only expecting 8.8. That was already like a 40-year high. 9.1. You can imagine that's why we saw that much of a volatility shock in US 30, in gold markets, probably in the dollar market as well. So we're gonna take a look at that. I haven't been watching the charts for the last like 4 to 5 hours. I was gone, so I just got home, so don't blame me. But it's crazy, right? I was looking at my phone and I was looking at US 30 and it was just going bonkers. So I just knew that CPI was going higher, right? What does that mean? CPI at 9.1%. It basically means that the Federal Reserve, the central bank of the United States, will have to hike interest rates more aggressively because they cannot tame inflation enough, right? With hiking interest rates, again, they cut spending. It becomes more expensive to borrow money. It's better to save your money at the bank. So they cut spending, they bring down inflation. So probably the dollar will get stronger, right, if they hike interest rates. So let's take a look at the dollar right now. Let's hop on the charts. I'm not going to go too much in depth on the fundamental sides today. I just want to go over some charts. Let's take a look at the dollar itself. I can see it's been going down. Wow, that's crazy. So that's even more weird. That was not what I was expecting. Okay, usually when the dollar goes down, US 30 goes up, and I've been seeing US 30 going down as well. You can see. So basically, it's a little bit weird, right? We know that the dollar has been super strong. It was at like 20-year highs or something like that. We have seen some bearish divergence here, right? We saw that the buying power on the RSI, we saw the buying power decreasing, okay? But I wasn't expecting this downside move. Now, we just have to wait and see if this really will continue to the downside. To be honest, I don't think so. We still have this high that hasn't been broken for now, okay? So that's still holding. But if we would break this low and we go to the next zone, which is right over here, if this breaks, then probably we're gonna get into a new downtrend. But I don't think that's gonna happen because basically economic conditions all around the world are bad. So usually when everything is bad, the dollar will be the strongest one, right? It will be the least bad one, okay? But now, yeah, just to be honest, I didn't expect this drop. So yeah, that's that. Let's take a look at that NZD CAT trade that we had. Wow, it hit RTP, guys. Woo! Right, nice. That's a 1 to 4.4. Let's say it like that. 1.4 and a half risk reward. So we were risking 1%. That's really nice, right? This happened, of course, during that CAT news 1 or 2 hours ago. Great, okay. It hit RTP. Basically RTP should have been here. Oh yeah, but I took it a little bit higher because we entered higher than the M3, right? But basically the conservative target was here and that one was hit as well. Well, we got to be honest, we placed RTP here. It hit RTP very nicely, right? So congratulations on you guys who took it as well. Very nice trade. We basically predicted that trade when we were here, right? We were expecting that retracement. It took a little bit longer. That's normal, right? The market knew that these interest rates were coming. So they were just waiting until they got the result. They got that result and they basically went in the direction that they wanted to go. I don't think this move is going to be over, right? We saw that big move to the downside, breaking these lows, basically breaking that low as well. Probably this is just a retracement to then continue to the downside, right? Probably not at the same speed, but I think it's gonna go down even more, right? You know, these two currencies, NZD and CAD, they are basically driven by the same drivers called sentiment, okay? Other than that, it's just focused on how strong is the economy, and we know that the Canadian economy is much stronger than the New Zealand economy, so we can expect the NZD CAD to to keep continuing to the downside, right? If you guys have any questions, get involved into the chat. I like to answer some questions now and then. If you guys have some pairs you want me to go over, or if you guys are in some trades that you want my advice on, drop something in the chat and we'll take a look at it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this call because it helps my channel out a lot. I want to provide people of as much value as I can. So the more you like these calls, if you put some comments in the call, it will help my stream as well. So thanks in advance for that. Let's take a look. What other trades did we had? We had AUD CHF, we had AUD USD. Let's take a look at these two. AUD CHF was here. So basically that one hit our break even. We got in right over here. It went down quite a lot, right? That was a 2.44 risk reward, not bad, but it didn't hit our TP, which was over here. So basically when we go one-to-one into profit, our stop loss is going to break even, and we are at break even now. So that that trade took us out at break even. But basically it made sense, right? I was going with Vertigo last night. I did a one-on-one session with him and we analyzed this pair. We completely broke it down, and basically it's a very easy trade, right? We had a nice uptrend, right? Creating higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher high, right? Look at these two guys. We have a high here, we have a high here. Look how RSI is reacting. We are not seeing higher highs on the RSI, meaning the buying power is decreasing. The buyers are leaving the market. That doesn't mean that sellers are entering the market, but buyers are leaving the market. Then this happens, right? This big move happens to the downside, breaking our previous low, and that is telling us sellers are entering the market, okay? So then we were just waiting for a retracement, very simple, into that sell zone, and basically we wanted to sell from here. Again, it took a little bit longer. Things happen, right? There are many reasons why it can take longer, but basically this was our entry. Just to be fair, basically our entry should have been here and our stop loss should have been just above that M3 level, and our TP should be right over here. If you were fast enough and you got this entry, as I show you guys in my impact strategy video course, you'll probably still in that trade, although no, it would have been break even as well. So anyway, that trade is now gone. Will it? I'm thinking about it. We might have another entry to the downside, but the same reason, right? Just as NZD CAT, it went down, but fundamentals and sentiment are still pointing to the downside, right? So this is still valid. It made a correction, it broke down, it's retesting now, so it can still go down. But basically our perfect entry was right over here. So I'm not gonna enter this one. It's a bit too messy right now, but it's still possible, okay? So I'm gonna delete this position. Then we had AUD USD as well. So what did happen over here? We got triggered, all right? How far did we go before it went back to our entry? Let's see. That's almost a one-to-one, so that would have been a stop loss probably, right? Yeah, too bad. That's probably gonna be, or that was a stop loss. Does that mean that we can't go lower? No, it doesn't. This was our role reversal level. So the yellow zone was our role reversal level. That was the first zone we wanted to sell from. It could go as far as the next zone, right? We had a zone here as well. If this would break, then chances of price going lower are much, much smaller. But now we are still basically in for the sell. It's just not doing what we wanted. That's probably because of the dollar, right? We saw this move in the dollar to the downside. So that's not going to push or help AUD to go lower, right? But I think USD itself is going to recover. So probably AUD USD is going to find time and reason enough to go down, right? So again, this trade could still be valid. You just need to find a correct entry point. That 50 EMA did perfectly what I expected it to do. We had a bearish cross here. This was the first pullback. It's taking a bit longer than usual, but it's possible, right? This is a zone where we can still look for sells. If you go to a smaller time frame, again, it doesn't look pretty to me. You can say, oh, but this is W pattern now. It's going to continue to the downside. If you're trading harmonic patterns, that's possible. I'm not going to bother you with patterns that sometimes work and sometimes don't. All right, I know what works. These pivots, for example, work. That's why I'm using these. There's no need to add multiple strategies into one, right? Of course, if you, for example, have a head and shoulders, like I think there was it AUD CHF? Yeah, I can't remember. There was a trade where we had head and shoulder patterns in that sell zone. Of course, then you can notice it and you can say, oh, and there's even a head and shoulders, right? But you're not gonna sell just because there is a head and shoulders somewhere in the middle of nowhere, right? What trade did we had as well? We had GBP USD, and then of course that NZT CAD trade and oil. So let's go to GBP USD again. It's a USD pair, so probably it will be fucked. Let's see. Yeah. So we got triggered, right? Our entry was right over here. We got triggered around just before the London session, basically. And then we went into profit. Let's see how much, right? 1.6. So again, that's another break-even trade. So break-even trades are fine, right? And then after going to break-even, we went a little bit more into profit, and then we hit our stop loss. So basically, that break-even was well done. Okay. Again, same thing. I still see GBP USD going lower, but again, that type of price action, I want to stay away from that from a little while. Just let it make a new move and then a decent correction, and then take that sell. Okay, something like you see here, right? That an impulse, let it make an impulse, let it make that correction to that pivot point, right? Or somewhere in that sell zone, touching that 50 EMA, something like that. And then try to sell over here, or try to sell over here once you see what you want to see or what we need to see. All right, let's see. Sorry, guys, I'm a bit tired, guys. I had a very, very, very busy day. Luckily, the EA did a lot of good work for me today. So let's see. This is US 30, right? We had basically we had a very clear zone here, a very clear support zone. It went down, it broke that zone. So now we are waiting for that retracement into tomorrow's sell zone. So that's a nice setup for tomorrow, right? Again, I do think US 30 is going to go lower based on fundamentals, which is hiking interest rates. If interest rates are going higher, if inflation is high, that's not good for stocks, okay? So if financial conditions are being tightened, that means that people are pulling away money out of their stocks. They are not investing in stocks because they don't have money saved up. And at the same time, inflation is high, so everything is more expensive. So they need their savings to buy food, to buy groceries, to basically pay their bills, their energy bills, because energy is high as well. Fuel is high, so everything is expensive. So they're not investing in the stock market. In the contrary, they are taking money out of the stock market before anything else. So I still think this is going to go lower. We want to find an entry in this sell zone tomorrow, right? Then probably German 30 is also going down. Let's see how this one is looking up. So let's see, right? So we were here on Monday, I think, or we were here on Monday. Wow, that's strange. It's only, yeah, we were. Oh, this is weird. This pivot isn't perfect, right? We were here on Monday because this was our this is the arrow that I drew on the live stream on Monday. I was expecting this zone to break. It did break, but it went back above immediately. Now it broke for a second time and it's staying below for now. So if it stays below this zone, if it stays below the pivot, we can still expect this one to go lower. So because we are still in that downtrend, right? German 30 still in the downtrend, looks good. The German companies still have issues and problems with energy. All right, energy is basically eating away their profit margins, so that's not good for their valuation. So if we go to a 1 hour time frame and let's see if we can spot something. I'm gonna remove all these drawings, and basically it's a bit too choppy, right? I don't see clear impulses to the downside with a decent, nice corrective type of price action. We're not seeing that, right? We're seeing up down spikes all the way, going as fast to the upside as it's going to the downside. So basically I want to stay away from this. Okay, let's see, what else do we have? We can take a look at the Nasdaq maybe. So what did we see here? Oh, we had, was this on Monday? Yeah, that was on Monday. We were expecting this imbalance to fill all the way, but it didn't happen. It went to, let's see, I'm gonna move this to the side just to see where it triggered. Where is our M3 level? Oh, so this is M3. Our entry should have been at M3 and our stop loss should have been at R1, right? So I don't know why I deviated from the strategy just because there is imbalance here. That was a stupid move, right? And it basically, it validates that I need to follow the strategy, right? The strategy says enter at M3 or at the pivot, not higher, right? Basically, if you want to, you're allowed to, right? It can improve your risk reward, but this was gonna be perfect, right? Enter at the M3 or just below the M3, put your stop loss just above R1, and your TP would have been the conservative target. That's a 1 to 4 or almost a 1 to 5 risk reward. Yeah, that's basically very stupid of ourselves, or basically of me. I'm the one to blame that we didn't entered right there, right? So stupid. We missed the trade. We didn't took a loss, so that's already a big part of trading, not losing. Okay, but yeah, it's a pity that we missed that one. Yeah. How are US 10-year yields doing? Very messy as well. Yeah, very messy. Still correcting to the downside. How is US Mexican doing? Right, let's see, how is this doing? Wow, it's going sideways. I'm gonna try the EA on this one as well, because that's consolidating very nicely. So we might see some decent profits on that one. But as you can see here, an impulse, a correction to the pivot, and back up, right? So the pivot do work on that pair as well. How is gold holding up? It's not really holding up. It's moving to the downside. We had a big push in the beginning of the month. I think this is correcting. I think we can see a push higher before we going lower, especially with inflation that high. You have to know gold is an anti-inflationary currency, or and basically an instrument, right? An investment. So it's a good hedge against inflation. So I think this it will have to go a little bit higher. We might retrace all the way into the sell zone and then look for another sell. But I don't know if it's gonna happen this week. Other than that, we can go over the trades, the other ones that I drew out on Monday. So basically Euro AUD hasn't recovered. The retracement hasn't pulled back all the way to the pivot. It's still valid, right? It can still happen. I'm just not sure if the euro is going to be strong enough to complete this retracement all the way up here to then continue to the downside. So that's a wait and see. But for now, it's still valid. Okay. Euro CAD. I think it was on the 1 hour time frame that we marked something up. Probably here. Yeah, we marked up this low. Basically, this was a nice retracement, but not one that I would have taken. Probably, how is the 4 hour time frame? I probably wouldn't have taken it. Why not? Because this target zone is not much lower than the sell zone, right? I like to see a target zone and then a decent correction to the sell zone, and here the sell zone was almost nothing higher, right? So I don't like that. although it can work out pretty perfect, right? But that's not the case right now. And here, of course, another very clean trade. Awesome. So we were here. I was expecting it to drop a little bit more, a little bit lower into that target zone. That move didn't completely happen, but we did got the retracement where we wanted to enter. Basically, this was the trade, right? We all know how the strategy works by now. If you don't watch the videos, we have a video course. We need to basically go all the way down here. So the trade is still running, right? We didn't reach our TP, or not our ultimate TP. This was a 1 to 5 almost risk reward. Too bad we only went to a 1 to 4. Maybe some people took partials. I show you how to take partials as well along the way in my video course, but that's yeah, it's a bit pity that it didn't complete the move completely. Now we are back in a sell zone. It's another shot. It's worth the shot because euro is weak. CHF is probably gonna stay strong for the next couple of weeks. So yeah, again, another trade that worked out almost perfect, right? It didn't completely reach our TP, but it did a good job. Somebody wants to enter my room. You want to learn how to trade, Kitty? Let's see. We have Euro GBP. Not interested in those. How is Euro NZD? Nothing much. Euro USD. Oh, see where we are. Right. This looks interesting. We got triggered like an hour ago or so. So that's nice. I didn't expect price to basically get all the way to this entry. We entered right over here around the M3 of Monday. That's a Monday's setup. So basically it can take a little bit longer to activate or to basically trigger the entry. It now got triggered and we are in blue. I'm not super confident about this trade because our TP is below the 1 psychological level, below parity. You can see parity is a very, very strong level, right? It's 1. It's like the most psychological level that you can think about. And it has a lot of value, right? The euro being equally, or the dollar being equally as much worth as the euro. It's not only psychologically in number wise, it's also psychologically, economic wise, political wise, socially wise, right? It holds a lot of value. So before this breaks, it's gonna need something, right? If it breaks, then we'll probably free fall to like somewhere around 89, something like that, 90. So once it's breaking, it's probably gonna break strong. It's gonna break good, right? But anyway, this trade got triggered, but not super confident about that trade right now, just to be honest with you guys. Again, if you guys have questions about it, let me know. Then we were looking at this one as well. So GBP CHF, still think that this is gonna go lower, but I'm not gonna enter before this zone break. So that's still a long way down before it does. GJ, not my cup of tea right now. So this is that GBP USD trade that we got out in break even, unfortunately. NZD JPY, not the best one, not the prettiest. I think, yeah, it still looks like it wants to go down. This is corrective, right? Impulse, correction, next impulse, possibly. But not clean enough to take a trade, not clean enough to risk my money on that. How are bonds doing? Still falling. Wow. I think that's it. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Oh, we're gonna take a look at oil as well. Bitcoin still in that range, right? Not ready to break out. It's probably not gonna break out for the next couple of months. It could break lower, right? Maybe somewhere around 1500. Let's see. Our target zone for this month is 1100. Let's take 1200. So 12,000. Well, 1200 is something else. 12,000 that's probably gonna be one of the best prices that you will see Bitcoin if it gets there, right? So you might put a buy limit somewhere over there, not financial advice. Other than that, guys, I don't know, maybe gold, yeah, maybe oil. So that is one of the best trades of this week. Again, we shared that one. I think it was the first trade. Yeah, it was the first trade that I shared here in this group. We were somewhere over here last week. I told you guys the 50 EMA is probably gonna do something like this. It's probably gonna bend and flatten out a little bit, right? We're gonna have our sell entry on the M3 psychological level 102. It did that retracement, so let's take a look. That was right over here. It did that retracement, but I think it looks a bit different. Let's take another look to that chart. Or was that a 1 hour? No, that's a 4 hour time frame. So basically I'm just a little bit confused. It looks different. Yeah, that was the entry that we had. And yeah, this was the entry. So the other one was another one. This was the entry that we had this week. And basically, yeah, it's doing perfectly what it's supposed to do. Our target is somewhere over here. So we are still in that trade. We are in the money. It's break even by now, of course. And that was the trade that I was talking about. We had some kind of a head and shoulders here. So we had a head and shoulders around our pivot. We touched it. Did we had divergence? No, we don't, or we didn't. So on the 1 hour time frame, we can see this head and shoulders very clearly as well. See, this was the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder, and then it broke the neckline, right? And usually when it breaks the neckline, it comes back up and retests that neckline. That hasn't happened yet, so it's still possible, but we can see that it's riding at 21, so price is pretty aggressive. There are reasons enough for oil to fall. Okay, we have China going slightly into lockdown. They are retesting a lot of the population. The COVID cases are increasing again over there. We have so that basically means that companies and manufacturers in China are using less oil. Okay, and on the other side, we also had some of the OPEC guys, the oil producers, telling us that they will be able to produce more oil. So more oil equals price going down, right? Less demand equals China, right? Also means less or lower price. Okay, so we have two factors, two reasons for oil to go down, and that's why we took that swing trade. Okay, almost no drawdown, beautifully triggered, and now already like what 1 to 2 risk reward in profit. Anything below 1 to 3, we're not going to take it. We could have taken a lot more out of this trade because that's big of a stop loss was not necessary, but I'd rather take a big stop loss than a big loss or a small loss, you know. So yeah, thank you for hopping on, guys. I'm gonna wrap up the call. I know it was a short call. I'm gonna answer all your questions in the Discord as well. If you haven't joined the Discord, feel free to join that Discord. The link is in the comment sections down below. Don't forget to like, and if you want to remember something out of this session, just write in the comments what you learned, and then you can use it like some kind of a history where when you can search on YouTube, oh, I want to learn about this. What CPI means, for example, right? You type that in, what you typed in, and then you can see what session I talked about CPI, for example. So just for yourself, it can help. So yeah, thanks for hopping on, guys. I appreciate you, and we'll see each other next Monday, right? So have a good one and be careful out there. Ciao, ciao, guys.